Parshas Tzav Shabbos HaGadol Tavshin Pei. Yes, this Shabbos HaGadol Manishtana, right? This Shabbos HaGadol. Why is this Shabbos HaGadol different than any other Shabbos HaGadol that any of us has seen in our lifetime? And traditionally, on Shabbos HaGadol, the Shabbos before Pesach, the Rav of every congregation would speak to the congregants about the halachos and the different aspects of the Chag of Pesach. Give us the different things that we need to know for the Yom Tov. And as we know, the Yotzres that we normally say, the Yotzres that we say at Shachris on Shabbos HaGadol, there's a very, very comprehensive piece in the Yotzres about Hilchos Pesach, all the different halachas that we need to know, from Bir Chometz to the Sedorim to the Seder, for those of you who are watching in Eretz Yisrael, different preparations for Pesach. And unfortunately, though, this year we're going to have to once again be davening without a minyan this Shabbos in our homes. But of course, one is able to read the Yotzres, you're able to read all these halachas, and whether these halachas are actually halacha l'maisa, each person could speak to their Rav. But the idea is definitely that the preparation time is here, that Pesach is coming up right around the corner, and we need to prepare. We need to prepare for Pesach. And yes, this year is quite different than any other year, Pesach. Many will be making Sedarim alone. Many will be making Sedarim for the first time. Many young couples will have grown up a lot quicker than they thought that they should or they thought that they would. But there'll be, and everybody's going to make the best of what is a situation we actually never could have predicted or never thought about. But everyone's going to make the best of it and understand that everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing right now, although we don't understand it, and we may never understand it, but one thing we know is that everything is going to be for the good, and everything is for the good. And the more we tell that to ourselves, the more I think we're accomplishing exactly what has to happen during this very, very difficult period that everybody's going through. And it's not just the practical preparations that a person has to do and a person has to know for Pesach. The Nesivos Shalom speaks a lot about the spiritual preparation that one has to do before the Yom Tov of Pesach. And maybe even more so this year, when we have to get ourselves in the right frame of mind, in the right mindset to approach Pesach and understand that it's still the holy Yom Tov of Pesach, where so much is there for us and so much can be accomplished. And I want to share a beautiful word from Reb Baruch Mimezbesh, from the Mezbesh and Zechus Yagan Aleinu. And although the Nesivos Shalom brings down Reb Baruch all the time, this word, I have to actually tell you that I did not see this word inside the Nesivos Shalom when I was looking for it now. But it's definitely someone who the Nesivos Shalom brings down and speaks about a lot. And the Pasuk tells us, at the time of Yetzias Mitzrayim, when Hashem was going through Mitzrayim, and Hashem was striking down the firstborn, all the Bechorim of Mitzrayim, and we were instructed to put blood on the mezuzah of the door, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu would see the blood, and the Pasuk tells us, Ufasach Hashem ala Pesach, that Hashem, when he would see the blood on the door, Hashem would skip over, and thereby, as we all know, the name Pesach, right? Upasach Hashem al ha-Pesach, v'lo yitein ha-mashchis, Hashem would not let the mashchis, Hashem would not let the mashchis that was going and killing all the firstborn of Mitzrayim, Hashem would see the dam on the mezuzah and not let the mashchis lavoyo bateichem lingoif. He would not let the mashchis come into that house, and they wouldn't be able to strike anyone in that house. And we know that by Avodas Hashem, Nesivos Shalom tells us a lot. The way Avodas Hashem works is that we as people need to always take the first step. We have to take a step. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is there to help us. He's there to carry it along. He's there to do for us. But we have to show that we're willing. We have to show that we are taking the first step. And Hashem wants us to just make that opening. Chazal tell us what Hashem says, Pischu li Pesach kechudoi shel machat. Open up for me, Hashem says. An opening just like the head of a pin. The needle, just like the head of a needle. Open that up for me. In other words, a very, very small opening, but do something. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I want you to do something. Kechudoi shel machat. Even like just a needle. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu is ready to open it. Vani eftach lochem kechudei, right? Shepischoi shalulam. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to blow the doors open. He will open it for us and create a very wide entranceway, a very wide doorway to which we can go through. But we need to do something. That's the way Avodas Hashem works. You can't just sit back. You can't just lay back there. You have to do something. You have to take a step, and then Hashem opens up the doorways for us. And that's the way it works normally in Avodas Hashem. However, at the time of Yetzias Mitzrayim, it was a bit different. And you know how it differed? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu was even willing, and Hashem did, forego that klal of Avodas Hashem of where we had to take the first step, where we had to create that opening. HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw what kind of a matzav we were in. We were in such a troubled matzav. We were teetering on the brink of the bottom of the Memtes Sharei Tumah. Had we fallen in, had we taken another step down, who knows what could have been. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw our matzav, and Hashem took all the rules off the table. It was different. Hashem said that I'm going to help you out. I'm going to do for you, even without you opening kechudoi shel machat. I'm not even going to have you open the smallest opening. So says Reb Baruch Mibezrush, a beautiful, beautiful word on this pasuk. The pasuk tells us what happened at the time of Mitzrayim, the time of Pesach. You know what happened? Ufosach Hashem al ha-Pesach. Hashem skipped over the regular klal of the Pesach that we have to open, that we have to do something. HaKadosh Baruch Hu skipped over the usually required Pesach, the opening that we have to make. And without us even doing much, that at this time of the year, when normally we have to do a lot, and normally we should do a lot, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu put into the air of the Yontiv of Pesach that this is the way it is now, that even if we're not able to do what we should do, HaKadosh Baruch Hu still instructs the mashchis that he cannot come into our home. HaKadosh Baruch Hu still opens the doorways for us that we can attain levels in Avodas Hashem. And the Nesivos Shalom always tells us that anything that ever happened to Klal Yisrael in the Torah is not just a storybook, is not just something that happened. Anything that happened to Klal Yisrael is nitzchi. There is an eternal lesson for every one of us in every episode and everything that happens in the Torah. And every single year, at the same time, every year, the hashbois of what happened in the Torah of that at that time of the year, the hashbois come around again. And they come back to us again. And each and every year at the time of the Seder of Pesach, when we come to the Yom Tov of Pesach at this time of the year, we come back to the idea of and how apropos and how relevant it is for every one of us this year. Ufasach Hashem ala Pesach, that Hashem, first of all, He will skip over our homes. He will skip over and not let the mashchas come into the house. But ufasach Hashem ala Pesach, that Hashem is saying, I'm here. I'm ready to do everything for you, even if you don't. Hashem is going to put aside all the formalities, and He opens up the doors for everything that we need. So even those who find it difficult to engage in and to indulge in Avodas Hashem all year, you have the tremendous opportunity and the capability to connect to Hashem and become close to Hashem and take big steps in Avodas Hashem at this time of the year. And once someone gets started, and Hashem is going to give us that push, He's going to give us the push to get started. Once a person gets started, there's no telling how far a person could go. Never underestimate yourself. Once you get started, you can really get rolling, and you could accomplish so much, and you could grow so much. And this part of the year, this time of the year, this time coming up to Pesach, is very, very mesugal for that. And at this time, and of course this year, we can add even more, because we want this advantage of Hashem opening the roads for us, when at a time that everything is so strange and everything is so different and everything are things that we don't understand. But this idea of HaKadosh Baruch Hu giving us the strength, and where we're zoiche to the hashpos that we're in the Torah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, putting everything else aside. We have no idea why we are in the predicament and why we are in the situation that we are now. But you know what? We're here. We don't know what got us here. There are no Nevi'im to tell us. I mean, you have a lot of people telling you for sure they know exactly why we're not in our shuls and why we're home, and why something which was totally what we would have thought out of a fiction book, out of something nobody could have imagined, is actually here, and everybody in the entire world has no power to do anything about it. We see right in front of our eyes the ein oid milvadai, but there are people out there who are telling you that they know exactly. Although I heard a wonderful vart this week, somebody was saying that, it's always the people who don't have the internet that are telling you have to get rid of the internet. And it's always the people who don't have a cell phone who are telling you must get rid of your cell phone. And so it works. Essentially, what they're telling you is that it's not me, it's you. And right away, once you hear that, you're not hearing the direct and the good message. We spoke about this last week. We spoke about this 2 weeks ago, that right now we're at a time of individuality, where each person has to take the steps to do things a little better in their own world. Now everybody's home. You have a chance to be in your own world a little bit, and every person knows exactly what they can improve and how they could take small steps, and how they could take small steps now turn into big steps. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, at this time of the year, even if you don't take the steps, just be willing. Hashem will take you right through the door. He'll open up the doors for you. And if each person does their little bit and takes care of themselves and grows a little bit at this time of the year, it can multiply exponentially. It multiplies, and it becomes just what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to see from us. So although we may not understand, but we come to the Yontif of Pesach, still the Yontif, Hasienu, Hashem Elokeinu, as Birkas Mayadecha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes and He bestows on us the brachas of the Yontif, Simcha, Shalom, Chaim, all these things that we so desperately want and we so desperately ask for. It's that time of the year. It's going to happen. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is there, and the Shefa comes down at this time of the year, and it's going to be for everybody a beautiful Yontif. Take advantage. Start to appreciate. Hashem wants us to notice. Start to appreciate what we're missing. We're missing our minyanim. We're missing being together as a family. We're missing our chaverim. We're missing tefillah. We're missing Torah. We're missing all the shir. We're missing going out. We're missing so many things that Klal Yisrael depends on. Hashem wants us to appreciate it, to understand what we're missing, and just know, although it's for the good, and it's for sure for the good, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to notice that we're missing it. I'd like to wish everyone a Chag Kosher v'Sameach, and all the best, and let us grow at this time of the year. Let us grow and take advantage of this season of Pesach.